A flood is a body of water that covers land which is normally dry. Floods are common natural disasters that can affect millions of people around the world. They destroy houses and buildings, and carry soil away from valuable farming land. Floods can also contaminate drinking water and lead to diseases. Newspapers belong to the oldest methods of getting information to the public and keeping people well informed on important events. They can cover more news in greater detail than other media, and reporters have more time to get the facts straight. Producing a newspaper requires speed and good organization. Daily newspapers print world, national and local news. Many of them also have a section about events that happen in the area in which the reader lives. Most dailies are distributed in the morning, but in some large cities newspapers have an afternoon or evening edition that comes out when people travel home from work. Sunday newspapers have additional features and more pages than weekday editions. Topics like entertainment, finance or travel are included in separate sections, which sometimes make Sunday papers so large that they are difficult to handle. In addition, many newspapers have their own online edition which provides news over the internet. Weekly papers are distributed in a much smaller area and have news that is more local and personal. In small communities, people know each other and are often interested in activities of their friends and neighbors. A newspaper employs various kinds of reporters. A beat reporter covers certain issues and topics, mostly over a longer period of time. He or she may report on a crime and the trial that follows. An education reporter follows topics related to schools and universities. Other beat reporters cover topics like fashion or science. General assignment reporters cover any story that they are given to by the editor. Sometimes reporters spend months trying to get stories on corruption and other wrongdoings. These stringers, as they are called, do not work for a paper, but send them stories regularly. Newspapers cannot have reporters and correspondents everywhere in the world. Most reporters only provide information and the basic facts of a story and rarely write the whole story themselves. This is usually done by news editors. They write stories as a team on computers that are connected together. The finished story goes to a copy editor or reader, who corrects spelling and makes the story easier to read. If it is too long, he makes it shorter and also finds a headline. The completed paper is transferred electronically from computers to the printing press. Most papers use offset printers in which the contents is put on curved printing plates. Everyday newspapers must be finished at a certain time, so that they can be delivered to the readers on time. A newspaper cannot exist without advertisements. They pay for at least 75% of all costs. The people who work in this department sell ads to individuals and companies. Newspapers carry two types of ads. Display ads can be as large as a full page and can also include illustrations and photos. The invention of computers in the 20th century has greatly changed the way newspapers are made. Today, reporters can save time by sending the main facts of their stories by email. Editors can easily make corrections with spell checkers. Articles are shuffled from one page to another, and color graphics and pictures make newspapers more attractive. Flooding has always been a part of human history. Many ancient civilizations developed along waterways and rivers because people needed water for their fields. Floods are not always destructive natural events. Before the high dam was built, yearly floods in Egypt brought along nutrients and made the land around the Nile very fertile. At least once a year, the plains around large rivers are flooded. This is due to the amount of water that rivers bring with them, because of heavy rainfall or melting snow in the mountainous regions. Thunderstorms can cause flash floods, in which small rivers can swell quickly and carry up to 10 times the normal amount of water. Coastal regions can also be affected by flooding. After earthquakes on the ocean floor, tsunamis can bring up to 15-meter high waves and flood the coast many miles inland. In 2004, a devastating tsunami in the Indian Ocean killed over 250,000 people in Indonesia, Sri Lanka, Thailand, and other countries. Floods are also caused by humans. Trees and plants normally help absorb too much water. When forests are cut or burned down, water from rainfall flows down barren land and produces mudslides. Too much water pressure on dams can lead to cracks in the concrete or even cause a dam to break completely. Today, flood protection has a high priority in countries that are in danger. Dams are built along rivers to regulate the flow of water. They are often connected with hydroelectric power plants. In some areas, rivers are dredged and their beds are laid deeper. In alpine regions, reservoirs are built to hold back water and control the flow of small rivers. In many areas, authorities provide quick and unbureaucratic help for people who have suffered from flooding. Special boats pick up people who are trapped on roofs or on the upper floors of buildings. Shelters are set up for people who are left homeless. Rebuilding after massive floods often takes months and sometimes even years. Rivers usually begin high up in the mountains as a tiny flow of water that comes from rainfall or melting ice. Sometimes rivers originate in a lake or a layer of groundwater that comes up to the surface as a spring. Rivers consist of three sections. When streams carry more and more water, they grow into rivers. They cut their way through landscapes and change the face of the earth. Erosion is caused by the flowing water that cuts into bedrock and makes a river's bed deeper. Waterfalls, canyons and other landforms are typical of the upper course of rivers. When streams carry more and more water, they grow into rivers. They cut their way through landscapes and change the face of the earth. Erosion is caused by the flowing water that cuts into bedrock and makes a river's bed deeper. Waterfalls, canyons and other landforms are typical of the upper course of rivers. The brightness of light is measured in the unit candles, a name that dates back to the old days when wax candles were the only ways of lighting up a room. The amount of light that an object receives depends on how far away the light source is. If a simple candle shines directly on a flat surface that is 1 foot away, light has an intensity of 1 foot candle. Smog is a combination of smoke and fog. It occurs when gases from burnt fuel get together with fog on the ground. When heat and sunlight get together with these gases, they form fine, dangerous particles in the air. Smog occurs in big cities with a lot of traffic. Especially in the summertime, when it is very hot, smog stays near the ground. It is dangerous to our breathing, and in smog areas we can't see very well. Smog was first discovered in Great Britain in the 19th century, during the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. At that time people used coal for heating and cooking. Factories also used coal to produce iron and steel. Smoke got together with wet, foggy air and turned yellow. The smog often stayed over cities for many days. It caused lung diseases and breathing problems. Thousands of people died in London every year. Today, cities that have a high population and are located in hot, subtropical areas have the biggest smog problems: Los Angeles, Mexico City or Cairo. A lot has been done to prevent smog recently. Factories use coal that doesn't have that much sulfur in it. And cars are much cleaner today. In some cities, cars aren't even allowed to drive on smog days. Our atmosphere filters the sunlight and keeps dangerous rays from reaching our planet. Without such a filter it would get too hot during the daytime. At night it prevents heat from escaping so it does not get too cold. Without an atmosphere, life on our planet would not be possible. It also makes our world a more pleasant place to live. Air carries sound waves, which let us hear voices or listen to music.